Susan Fluke, who goes before a congressional committee and essentially says that she must be paid to have sex. What does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? A slut.
Just because I'm dressed this way does not make me a whore. Which is true. Gentlemen, but ladies, you must understand that is fucking confusing. Fucking confusing.
And then he said that women should avoid dressing like sluts in order not to be sexually harassed. Sexually harassed.
We are here because we've had enough. Enough of being told that we should be ashamed of ourselves, ashamed of our appearance, ashamed of our pleasure, and ashamed of being victimized. We've had enough.
On behalf of everybody, regardless of their status, their profession, sex workers, trans people, every gender expression, every ability, every experience.
My name is Heather Jarvis. I identify as a feminist and an activist and a queer, and that's all really important to me and shapes my politics. I'm a co-founder of SlutWalk that began in Toronto and a current organizer with SlutWalk Toronto. I've been called a slut a lot of times, and when I have enough confidence and enough safety to do it, I can turn around and say, so what, am I a slut? That's fine with me, what about you? And people usually get really quiet, and it feels really good. SlutWalk began when, in the end of January in 2011, a Toronto police officer named Michael Sanguinetti was at York University, which is in the north part of Toronto, giving a talk with another police officer on safety at the campus. He interrupted his colleague to say something along the lines of, I think we're beating around the bush here. I've been told I shouldn't say this, but women should not dress like sluts to avoid being victimized.
We keep putting the emphasis on we should blame the person who's being victimized. It doesn't make people who are potential victims any safer, because we're not putting responsibility where it should be, and we're not putting any messages out that say, like, this is how you look for consent, and you don't ever go there if you don't have it.
People need to understand that people who wear pajamas and jogging outfits and big winter coats and long johns get assaulted while wearing those things.
People will of course we don't blame the nun, of course we don't blame this person who's wearing turtlenecks and overalls, except for she's out late at night and if she was hanging around with unsavory company, which is wrong, by the way.
Just because a woman wants to be sexual and look like a woman is no reason to give the message to any man that she's open territory.
You hear people say oh, they were asking for it, and if people didn't dress that way, then that wouldn't have happened to them, which is ridiculous.
Do you think anybody does anything to bring on sexual assault?
Yeah, if you dress like a slut.
What does that mean? Good question.
I was so angry at this kind of mentality that it made me want to get a bunch of people and go down to the Toronto Police Headquarters and tell them to do better. And a friend of mine said, I think that's a great idea, I think you should. So later that day, only within a few hours, we texted back and forth and decided we would do it. And she tossed out the idea of, what do we call it? What do we do? Let's call it a slut walk. The Toronto police officer used that word and threw it at us. We wanted to throw it right back out and put it on the center stage for people to be able to question. How do you think women feel when they're called sluts?
It depends on the character.
The word slut, what does that mean to you?
I don't look at it as a negative. Everyone has sexual needs, and I don't think people should use it as a negative term.
I think it sounds like a slang word for a girl that has her own opinion.
I just find the word offensive.
Why slut walk? Why take back a word that has been used to demean and demoralize? We're doing it because we have the power to change it.
This word could be something different. It could be reappropriated, like other words have been, like queer, like dyke, like gay in a lot of ways. and say that this could change and people could look at it a very different way, and instead of feeling horrible about themselves when they're called words like slut, they could feel like it wasn't their problem, it was the person who was saying it.
Have you ever heard of a protest called SlutWalk?
Yes, I have.
No.
Yes, I've heard of the SlutWalk.
I think for women to take back the word, if they want to take back the word and call themselves a slut, that's good.
Would you ever go to something like that?
Yeah, maybe.
I like the concept.
If it's offensive to you as a group, that's the way to get a message out.
Having the slut walk is good because it gets people talking and thinking about it anyways.
Who you calling slut? Oh, me. Oh, still me. Well, okay. So I think it's a battle, it's a long one, but we're on it.